Good Monday morning, everyone, and welcome to Perspectives. It is Monday, May 16th, 2021. Trust everyone out there is A-OK, had a great weekend, doing well, feeling well. It's a beautiful Monday morning. Yes, the sun has come up really, really early and just reminds us how beautiful this rock is and the blessing it is to be here. May 17th, I think I said May 16th, just so we have the dates right. Yeah, May is quickly slipping away from us. Just now we might be saying Merry Christmas, right? But anyway, before we get there, we have a lot of other things to get to. I am Brenda Baptiste, your moderator, and it's a pleasure to introduce our expert talk panel of Senator Christopher Allie and Mr. Byron Campbell. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Brenda, and it's nice to have you back.
Oh, I missed you guys. I missed you.
We tried our best, but I don't know if we got there. And good morning to our viewers and listeners, and happy to be here as well.
Yeah. I was diagnosed. I didn't know. I got the cold. I got very, very scared, I must say.
You got the 4%?
Well, it's on Wednesday. Somebody tell me, hey, Brenda, what? You're privileged? I said, what do you mean by that? They say you were the first person to receive that 4%. I said, but I'm not a teacher. Public service. I said, what's 4%? They say, you're like all you have. I'm like, oh my goodness. But anyway, may we never lose our humor in Grenada. It is just, it's just a beautiful thing.
Byron?
Why are you looking in my direction? Morning all, colleagues. The weekend and the week before that, I think, as you talk about the 4%, quite a number of children had to be sent home from school. Yes. So it's a very serious fact matter. But a number of things caught my attention during the week. There was some incident of student violence that occurred. Also, we picked up that a local vaccine supply is facing expiration and expiry, it's going to expire soon, and we're going to talk about that, I know. And I understand that Grenada came to the fore to accept, to be the host of South Africa visit to Grenada, to the Caribbean, St. Lucia and Grenada, at short notice. So that's a big deal. And I also learned that about the resignation of the CBI chairman. And that's his damn business.
You mean the CBI chairman that's sitting down in the middle of us?
I'm not pointing to anybody, but I'm not going to go into details on these issues. Two international matter is to the forefront. One had to do with this malware that was used to lock up Colonial Pipeline, and $5 million in ransom paid that's untraceable. This is a big deal from the point of view that you could be anywhere in the world and shut down systems and operations and we'll say, well, Grenada. But it tells us something that our security system for our network computer systems, a lot of attention need to go to this. That's one. The other thing that caught my attention is what's happening in Palestine and Israel. Really, we'll say, well, that's very far from us. But in our modern day, when we see apartheid taking place, that we have Palestinians that are citizens of the state of Israel, that is, and have been treated as second and third class citizen. And you want to cry when you see Israel is recognized no international law, whether it's the United Nations or the International Court of Justice or whatever. They just do their own thing. So that came to my mind in terms of the onslaught and the criminal activities taking place there right now. I think that everyone has to recognize it and speak out against it, how small we are. These are the things taken.
Interesting thing with the malware thing is it's right in the Caribbean here already. Yeah. My company, Answer Macal, was subjected to that hack. And demanding ransom and so on and so forth. And it constantly keeps companies on the edge in terms of looking at their security protocols and what needs to be done and so on. So it's not that it's out there in the US and not in the Caribbean. It's very much in the Caribbean, And big companies, insurance companies, financial institutions, and companies like ours, conglomerates, have to be constantly, we have a whole department dedicated in IT to just security.
But explain, Chris, how does the cryptocurrency work? You know, how can I pay you $5 million and it's untraceable? You know,
because it's digital. It's all digital money.
But somebody receives it.
Yeah,
it goes somewhere.
It's how they route it and what they do in terms of where it's not like money in currency sitting in a bank account, and because it's digital money and it's traded across different platforms, that is very difficult to trace where it's going to end up and in whose hand it's going to end up.
The US is talking about retaliatory measures. I mean, how do you retaliate when you don't know who?
Well, I mean, the IT
it's in their
people...
nature to retaliate, so why not say that?
The IT people will be better at that than me, but I suspect when you're doing these kind of things as hackers, you have some kind of IP address that originates from where you are. I mean, they just do it and share and secure it in all kind of different ways. But hackers will hack hackers.
Yeah.
You know.
But the point you're making is that it's here also.
Yeah. Very much in the Caribbean. I mean, remember we had an incident right in Grenada. Yeah, the government had an issue with ransomware as well, where they locked down certain parts of the system and demanded payment. You understand? So that happened right here as well. So you had to. It's not that you're. All of us are vulnerable, and they're coming in the most intricate ways. You know, in the one in Grenada here, they came through a sub office in Carriacou.
Whoa!
You understand?
You really have your IT infrastructure, and so really
the more we go digital, and the more we say, let us get more efficient with digitizing and all these various platforms, is the more we have to spend in security to ensure that these guys who are hacking don't do that, because whatever ransomware people do, they lock down aspects of your system. You can't get access to it, to your programs. I remember now, you know, Byron, most of the programs, you know, years ago, we buy a CD and we load it up in the system and we get Microsoft Suite. That don't exist now. Everything is in the cloud.
Yeah.
Yes.
You have to go to the cloud and download what you want.
Correct.
So it becomes even more vulnerable from that standpoint, and that these guys have access to everything that you do, your data and everything.
Because everything you place is in a cloud somewhere that somebody could access. That's why our online footprints and our digital.
It's major because I mean, here you could. I mean, the implications were that there's no fuel because the pipelines are closed down. Fuel can't move. You know, prices go up, supply and demand. I mean, it could.
And in the US, in those first world countries, water systems are like that. Fuel systems are like that. Don't talk about electricity. Everything is digital and is controlled from central hubs and all of that and so forth. And people could stay home, technicians could stay home and adjust the systems. And so it's a great thing to do it that way and to be flexible and so on. But boy, it opens you up, the vulnerabilities. The stock exchange, all financial systems, the US stock exchange and everything is on digital platforms. And if these guys get hacking into that, I mean, we now going to Dcash. And we're getting very excited with Dcash and what Dcash could do for us. You know, you scan your phone, you pay, and so on. But imagine if them guys are able to hack your Dcash system, right? And get access to everybody's money. Everybody have a $200 on their phone, and they take 100 from everybody. You understand?
Yeah.
So your security system has to be up to date, and that's really crucial.
And constant. I mean,
robust.
In the world now,
So.
you get hackers in the corporate world. We have hackers working for us to hack our own system to see where the vulnerabilities and the weaknesses are.
To build infrastructure.
And then they say, we see that weakness here, you close that. So we have hackers working to hack our own system. Because that's the only way you could stay ahead of the curve. And you can't be far ahead of the curve, because these guys that are hackers, they're very talented. You understand?
It's how criminologists learn their craft. They actually go into the minds of people that would, commit crimes.
And a lot of these hackers build systems as well, so they know. And, you know, there's this big conspiracy theory that I say when you buy a new piece of software, the person who you're buying it from, the purchaser, always leaves a back door. It's something to come in and, those of us who buy the software who not IT savvy, we know, they're back door, You totally are their bosses. So.
But coming home again, this is what we were talking about is really useful for everyone. You mentioned the incident we had with the youngster, the violence there, the stabbing in, I think at Grenville, think it was.
Bus terminal.
Yes, and everyone's up in arms about it. Again, as we go up in arms, every time something happens, with violence and young people. And we keep singing this same song. And especially for Grenadians in the diaspora, who of course love Grenada and, you know, still very nostalgic about the Little Rock. You know, it's like, what Grenada coming to yada, yada, yada. And we ourselves ask the question. But we have to be more introspective and honest. We are communicating and interacting. Everything we do, in my mind, in terms of, you know, publicly and so on, is very acrimonious. You know, young people are seeing that. If I disagree with you, it becomes a full-on battle. You know, not really us going back and forth about our disagreements. We go below the belt, we go all back where your neighbor Stringberry, all where your grandmother was before and all that sort of thing. We go there. You wake up in the morning, you put on the radio, the first thing you hear, yeah, 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 rah, rah, rah. Young people seeing that. The dad is in the home with the mother, or maybe not in the home with the mother. The men that come into the home, they act a particular way, they are seeing that. I'm saying all of this to say is that the language they see is violent. Whether it be, you know, orally or, you know, verbally, or that's what they see. And that is something we all need to work on. The raising of the children, the raising of the child to an adult, because they're only a child for so long, we're actually raising adults. So we have to think about, you know, what we said. So it makes no point everybody just calling and crying down this young person and put them in jail and do this and do that. I think we all need to start looking at how we interact, how we behave, and what we show in the young person. They're very different to us, and they're going to remember everything we have said for them. They are going to invent new things, and what already exists, they're going to take it up a notch, and that includes violence. Trinidad and Jamaica didn't just become like that, you know. We kept turning our eyes away. They kept turning their backs. As gated communities built, people closed their gates and they closed themselves off. And we need to be careful. We need to be careful. So it's all well and good when it things and people, oh, well, not my child. Oh, Lord, why is that little boy like that? Really? Take a look at how we all of us behave.
I want to add a little other dimension to it too, Brenda. I think there's an issue of how we resolve conflicts as well.
How can we do that?
And,
we have no reasoning.
You know, I could only go back to my experience as a young man and our generation and how we resolve conflicts. We never walked to school. I saw the police pull out a thing from a kind of bamboo with a long thing and homemade kind of thing. And two things came to me. The amount of information that is available to young people, both on the negative side and on the positive side, but they will go to YouTube and see how to do anything, how to make anything, any kind of weaponry. We didn't have that in our days, right? So even though we may have had thoughts, we didn't know what to do. So that's one, there's exposure to the kind of information. And then with that now comes the issue of how we resolve conflict. You know, in our days growing up, we say we put a straw on your shoulder and say, if you think you're bad, knock that out. And we'll see what
you know how much fight starts?
A lot of fight didn't start.
Yeah.
Knocking out that straw.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was a way of resolving conflict.
Yeah.
You know, you boil down and you just say, boy, you know, and then you say a grand move.
Yeah, boy, if you know, just like I said, if you know.
No, these young people have this knife and this spike in their bag, so there's no need to think about resolving a conflict. It's about who pull first.
Who pull first.
You know, and that is something I don't know how we change that. I hear you talking about we need to talk more and so on, but a lot of it, as you say, have to start at the home. I mean, when you say young people going to a fete and they're walking with long knife and shank and thing in their bag, you know what it is when we go into a fete is to try and see if we can get like a dance like, you know, if we do that, we happy for the whole month.
You're walking home after the fete too.
You understand? It wasn't about that. As I tell a young man, I say, you ain't going to enjoy the fete, you're going to look for fight.
Yeah, like you walk from town to Certes, right?
Yeah.
Literally.
and what is the role of social media in all of this? To what extent?
Well, I mean, it's part of our lives. It's where we communicate a lot.
But rehabilitation, I mean, this is not the end of the world for young persons now. I mean, the type of services that are available for them now, the counseling in schools and other institutions is an important way to go. But the question is how you recognize that aggression early and deal with it, you know. But I agree that part of it is in the home, you know, a lot of single-headed households and, you know, some of those issues that as a society, it's all of us business and how we get involved on these matters.
I think an interesting dynamic too is that every time it happens, we seem to be focusing on what's wrong. wrong. Of course, wrong always connotes a negative. So what's wrong? But I think we need to go deeper. Like, what happened that it got there? So when we start addressing those things, probably we would get, but I just think we all need to get a little better at, when we go there to say things and remember that they are looking on, they're like sponges, they're soaking up everything that they're seeing. Regarding vaccines and all of that, it seemed like Friday we had a watershed day in Grenada. Lots of folks went out and took the vaccine. I am reliably informed that on Friday, 1,135 doses were administered. 695 of those were first jabs, and 440 were second doses. I think that is really, really tremendous. Since we started in February, probably that first week, we have not seen that, and that's really, really well. I asked the question, what happened? In terms of, and I was, I was told that it's becoming increasingly important to people who want to return to work and so on, that they need to. Some of the frontline people have started to, and there are new people who are just coming to get their vaccines because they probably, have gotten to the point where they have made an informed decision about vaccinations. So that is a good thing, and I would like to laud and applaud, everyone who went out and did that.
Yeah, I mean, it was an excellent uptake. But I mean, again, I'll say culturally, we are last-minute set of people. I think some of us got scared that we'll have vaccines that will expire and we won't get access to. Yeah. And then I think a lot of us have been looking at the Trinidad situation and what is developing there. And it's creating some fear among us.
It should.
As it should. Because when you see the number of deaths in Trinidad in 1 week and the amount of infections in that said week, it's just continuing to spiral upwards and upwards. They don't seem to get a flattening of their curve at all. And you could see in terms of the lockdown and what they're doing, it's tightening even more and more. Yeah. And Trinidad is back as where we started last year, March. Yeah. In that, the society is shut down. And that is not a good thing. And I mean, you could blame and say a lot of things about it was slow in vaccination uptake and this and that and the other, but at the end of the day, the society in Trinidad is suffering, by extension also. Remember, Trinidad is a huge trading partner for the rest of the OECS and CARICOM. And when you lock them down, so for example, my business, I have stuff sitting on Trinidad port that was supposed to come up last week. And now I know when it's coming up, probably till after the end of May. And that could throw my business into some sort of spin. So it is something that we take lightly, but it is going to affect us indirectly in terms of trade and so on. So I say that to say that the vaccination is not only about you, and a lot of us think it's a personal choice only. It is, yes, but it's about indirectly how it affects other people around you.
Correct.
And the country and the business. And I know when we introduced our guest shortly and we started to talk, last week we spoke about this amber thing from England that Grenada was put on amber versus going green. And the effect on the tourism industry for us. And when we started this conversation last year, there was a big debate about livelihoods and lives. And which one came first? Our Prime Minister took the point, lives are more important than livelihoods at the time.
Right.
But we know at a phase where we have a solution. So now livelihoods must become more important. No,
there's a solution.
Yes, because there is a solution. And when we hesitate to go for the solution, the question becomes, from our own selfish choice or decision, what is the impact to us as a people and as a country?
Because a year ago, we had no guardrails between us and the virus.
That's right.
Now we do, right? So we really have to start thinking about our actions going forward. And, I made a point that the amber thing hurt me from the point of view that because we had such low infection rate, and because Grenada was lauded, even the British press, they were really pushing that before the announcement last week, Friday, not Friday gone, Friday before. that Grenada, they were sure that Grenada was going to be one of those countries that we were going to get green.
Yeah.
You know, I was a little kind of thing because I knew our vaccination numbers were so low. I mean, under 5%. This is troubling. Every index you look at for Caribbean and now the world, Grenada is down below. So I was like, okay, vaccination, all right, we just start. But where you are with vaccinations is now weighing heavily on these international decisions. Yeah. And I spoke about it earlier. I thought that it would have some impact on the indices and how we get back to moving with the recovery. And that is something we have to think about. That is not just a responsibility of our government. We now have a shared responsibility with it, in it. So it means that we, the citizens, have to, try as best as we can, get over our anxiety. The government and other agencies and other stakeholders need to provide more information that can help the citizens along, and we need to get vaccinated. There's no way around it.
I just want to add one point here is that we might say, look, we're okay, we're good, but there's always going to be reckless individuals, as we saw what happened over the weekend in Grenada right here. A guy came from the airport and went straight to the ramp up to the community and moved around. Yeah. So we say, yes, there are systems, but they're going to be reckless individuals. So you can't. It's invisible, this enemy. So get vaccinated.
Yeah. It seriously is our best shot.
Yeah.
It seriously is our best shot. And while we're at it, I'd like to commend the organizers of the event yesterday. The Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs were the one to spearheaded. It was moderated by Dr. Wendy Grenade, and there's some awesome Grenadians on that panel having that discussion. It was really, 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 really. And every time, you look at this, you're reminded, I think in terms of our human capacity and the talent of Grenadians in the diaspora and at home, it is so stellar that we often, that's something we really don't talk about or even acknowledge. Some people actually shun.
What was the three V's again, Brenda? I know vaccination, variants. I couldn't remember the third V.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Dr. Grenada had put in an
article.
Oh,
okay. Oh, in her clip to us. Yeah, I can't remember the third V. But that was really, really good. So we'd like to commend all of those who were involved with that. And of course, let's turn up the volume on that sort of interaction. That is what's needed. Yeah. So it is Perspectives on a Monday. We're here live on Alive. We have a really special guest panelist, and we'll be right back after the break to meet the person. We'll be right back.
This is Harold Paisity in New York. My fellow Grenadians, I am urging you to take the COVID-19 vaccine. As we fight this dreaded disease, the science has proven that taking the vaccine substantially reduces the possibility of you being hospitalized, hooked up to a ventilator, fighting for your life. Grenada's low positive cases today is no guarantee of the same tomorrow. Let's be proactive. Get vaccinated, save lives.
Get vax. It's your best shot. Hello.
A message from the Ministry of Health.
I accepted the COVID-19 vaccine. Initially, I felt fine, but later that evening, I had a headache. The next morning, I woke up with fever, chills, body pains, and I was just really tired. The symptoms continued, and that evening, I was out by 6 p.m. The good news, the second day after my vaccine, I got up feeling great. No more side effects. I am truly happy that I took the COVID-19 vaccine.
I took my best shot for the safety of my community. Get vaxxed, it's your best shot.
A message from the Ministry of Health.
Welcome back to Perspectives, and we'd like to thank all the broadcast entities who are carrying this program live. We say thank you so much to MTV, of course, carrying us on air and on your Facebook page, Mikey Live, TNR Communications, Partygrenada, our own Perspectives page, and Sister Isle in Carriacou. Good morning to everyone who's joining us across those platforms. Our special guest panelist this morning is Eddie Frederick. Eddie has been working as an image management consultant in the areas of HR, training, instructional design, public relations, and marketing. And he has done so locally, regionally, and within recent times, internationally. Eddie is a certified Caribbean hospitality trainer, CCHT, and he's a member of the Caribbean Speakers since 2003 and is widely sought. His extensive experience has been retained by the following international organizations. To name a few: the Caribbean Tourism Organization, the Organization of American States, Canada Training Awards Project, the European Union, Canadian International Development Agency, CIDA, and the United States Embassy Grenada, the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, and the RGPF, to name a few. His expertise as a social skills motivational trainer and his voluntary work with the Immigration Department of the RGPF led to them being recognized by the United Nations in 2012, placing second in the world for service and first in this hemisphere. Mr. Frederick cherishes his long and fruitful association with multiple internationally awarded 5 Diamond Spice Island Beach Resort. He has also forged a rewarding relationship with the regional and internationally recognized Belmont Estate. His first discipline is human resource development training and motivation. He is the consummate professional with a deep fervor for upward mobility and the building of human capacity. His weekly edification program on Facebook has raised the bar for presentations of its kind. We welcome to the Perspectives table this morning as a special guest panelist, Mr. Edward A.C. Frederick, who from hereafter shall be referred to as Eddie. Welcome.
Well, thank you very much, Brenda. That was a very interesting, contrived introduction, I must say. I must say a good morning to all our viewers also in the virtual sphere. And it really took a lot for me to say yes to come here, I'll be honest with you. But the subject matter is dear to me. Mm-hmm. Good, especially in these times where, as we were discussing before, life and livelihood we tend not to know which one comes first, the chicken or the egg.
Yeah.
But we have a solution. And because we have a solution, we could prioritize now. You know, I am not an expert on COVID-19 or the vaccine for that matter. And I just know that I'm an expert on fair. Facing everything and rise though.
Yeah.
Not forgetting everything and run.
Yeah.
Good? And in this case, I think, you know, all hands need to be on deck.
Yes.
When it comes to this particular pandemic.
Yes.
Because this pandemic is stripping us to the core. Good? The fear of it, of catching it, is one thing. But in the process, the things that we have to do in order to sidestep it is interfering with economics and finance, livelihood.
Yeah.
Livelihood.
So let's go there. You spent most of your formative years working in the tourism sector, and later on in your life to present day, you have really forged and built relationships, even building the brands of some of these properties, Spice Island namely, and of course Belmont Estate. What do you believe is the most critical elements, like right now, in terms of us, because they have been hard hit and they're a really crucial sector. So what are the most critical elements now for the hotel industry and tourism by extension in this recovery process?
Well, in terms of the actual human resource of these particular entities have been hard hit. Good, you're looking at just about everybody out of a job. Now, the element there for me is getting these people back to work. How do we get them back to work if we're going to have this high level of vaccine hesitancy? We have to educate them. What is the source of our education? There's an issue there of trust. How do you get them to trust the source? And that is why I think this COVID-19 virus environment has actually brought us to the fore, if we're conscious enough to recognize the need for national unity. That's the only element that will bring us together. Good. As I said on my recent edification program, which is an interesting point, if I may say so myself, everybody knows where I stand when it comes to my political views. But this COVID environment is no time and space for that. Good, we have to be appropriate.
Yeah.
Because to me, the only subject matter now for all of us is survival.
The common enemy is COVID.
Yes. And we have to close ranks. But that doesn't say that I have forgotten my political views. But let's do the same now.
Correct.
Let's all of us just shelve that. Still remain opposed, proposed, supportive. Yeah, but put that aside.
It's a very sexy and a word people use now, pivot.
Yes. You know, pivot and pivot properly, because this is the main thing. Now, you have the education, though, of our people, as we've been discussing. That is proving to be seriously wanting. Because if people, to me, were aware, properly aware, of the dangers of this invisible virus. This is not typhoid, you know, that you could just clean up your water, clean up your streams. This is not malaria. This is not something that you could trace the source and deal with it right away. This is something that is totally invisible. The Trinidadians, look at them. Good? Because they thought that this thing is a hoax. Because, you know, fete and party and rum and music is right up there with oxygen.
Yeah.
If you offer Trini fete and oxygen, you tell you are taking the fete, I will get the oxygen when I'm done.
In that order.
Yes, because that's their priority.
Yeah.
Now, as we say now in our neck of the woods, water more than flower down there now.
Yeah.
Good? So let's go back to the actual issue here. And I hope people who are in the hotel and tourism industries are actually listening, looking at this program, and would take to heart, because you have a lot of them who are just refusing to take the vaccine. And their conclusion is, when you lay down your rules that you only will be rehired if you are totally vaccinated, you can't tell me that that is mandatory. Where's the word mandatory there? The place is a private place. What about the source markets? The source markets are demanding vaccinated environments. So how do you know what it is for somebody to come to your place and come down with COVID just because you have one or two people that are not vaccinated on your property? Well, that's a lawsuit.
The risk will be high.
The risk is high. And the new normal atmosphere in which we are going to be operating is going to be a high risk environment. That is going to cost a lot of money if you slip. So they have to understand that. But what's the fear? Again, the fear. Education. Education, again, is the lack thereof is fueling the fear. Because let me tell you something, Brenda. It is very interesting, salacious material, nice, And if you
and it's comforting.
What you tell me,
and if it feeds into your narrative, then
of course, this is the point. And feeding into your narrative means if you're dunce, that's basically what it means, because your narrative would be low, and if your narrative is low, problems. Because
so let's pick up on that, Eddie. So honing in on your specialization in management, instruction, design, marketing, and public relations. The information and the packaging of it and the dissemination of it, where are we with that? Because we seem to be stuck in the features phase. What is, where is, what about the benefits? Would that be enticing? What would you, if you had to package this, especially bearing in mind where we are now, how would you present it?
I would present it on the basis of incentives. I would give people incentives.
Benefits.
Yes. Go show them, like for instance, you have this beautiful opportunity with cricket coming up.
Lord,
I would use that as an incentive.
I have a tabanka about that.
Good. I would say we're prioritizing fully vaccinated people. That in itself will get people to want to be vaccinated, because cricket is like the virus itself, People
with T20.
And that's the point. It's an exciting.
But Eddie, you talk about it. There's the fear. What's generating the hesitancy? Because if we don't address that, if we don't address, we believe there's a chip in me and this is not going to cure me. I can still catch a virus. I can still pass it on. In other words, what are the key reasons for the hesitancy and how do you overcome it? Because incentive, yes, but is that enough? That's
well, I agree it's not enough, but don't forget, we are not the manufacturers or the inventors or the developers of the vaccine.
True.
Good.
Right.
We have to also understand that the messaging should tell people this is the height of the technological era. Good. Years ago, for a vaccine to be properly accepted, because it's kind of 99% complete, is over 3 years, whatever it is, 4 years, and that sort of thing. But those days, we didn't have this kind of technology that we have now. Apart from that, we have to understand that COVID by itself is, is a generic term. So something was happening there already. It was morphing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Good. So therefore, they were building already a vaccine for that, not necessarily for this. Because as we say, this is here and that is down the road. Good. So the message here is very, very clear, that we have to let people know that technology has speeded up things. Good. And that is why you didn't hear the scientists didn't come out and tell you, oh, we're offering you 100% efficacy. No, to me, they were honest. When they tell you AstraZeneca gives you what, 70-something? 70% efficacy. Now, I'll tell you something. I have a friend in Florida who's a surgeon. And he said they did an experiment on a corpse who died of COVID-19. That particular individual had comorbidity issues. And he said when they opened the body, it is as if a bomb exploded inside this person. Good? Now, he said, put the suffering now with that. How much suffering this person, he said, yes, all of that should be in the packaging. So people are able to understand the debilitating effect this thing has on the human body.
So Frederick, to me, and to go to Byron's point about information, I think the greatest impact the last president of the United States had on the world was fake news. We as an ordinary person don't know how to filter now what is true and proper information from false information. So you will hear part of the people who have hesitancy say, speed was one that we just spoke about, how quickly this vaccine developed and they don't trust it, not taking into account the science, as you said. But the other major thing is, you don't know which piece of news to believe. So I may come and tell you, and you have doctors in the region, we have very qualified people on the program last night. Yesterday you could have seen that.
Excellent.
Who will talk about what the science is. And people will listen to that and say, I hear on social media they say if you put a magnet on your hand where the thing was here, get the magnet go stick.
Yeah, I had friends sending me that magnet yesterday.
So that is to tell you, and the fact that people will listen to that and give that credence without thinking deeply about it. The question that Brenda asks, how do we as leaders in our community and otherwise repackage this information to get people to understand that, listen, a lot of this is nonsense, quite frankly. And I mean, I hear you saying it reflects the level of dunceness to some degree. Yes, I agree. But people do generally have some serious concerns. And how do we get our people to filter? It's really a issue I see we have generally, not Grenada alone, worldwide. Right? When we were growing up, BBC was trusted news. Then you had the CNNs, you had the NBCs and so on. And then come all of these social media people who tell themselves they're experts and everything. And it just confuses.
Yeah, but mainstream media as well. Part of Trinidad's problem is that I believe, because I live out of Trinidad, so I follow Trinidad media to get Trinidad news. And I believe Trinidad media has done a lot of damage to get Trinidad where it is today. The media pushed stories. When Franklin Khan died, the media said it was the vaccine that killed Franklin Khan. The Prime Minister had to come out. The opposition leader, she kept coming out with her sunlight theories and riling up people. And the media kept pushing the false narrative. And it is just, I mean, I think the role of the media in this, this public health crisis, this public health pandemic, is to inform and educate, not push those sort of stories. And it's very, very painful. So it's not social media alone. It's everywhere. Then we have leaders in the society. You have pastors in church, businessmen. You have people telling people that it's a hoax, that they want to control you, that God say and God didn't say. It is an all-round assault on this thing.
But this
How
is the
do
question.
we counter it?
That's the question. How do we?
It has to be about the benefits.
Because the first thing they will say, I will start speaking about information that I think is factual, and I say, oh, your information right. Versus Eddie, where Eddie talking about magnet. Oh, you know. So, I mean...
But Eddie talks about national unity. Elaborate on this. How will national unity change the status quo?
That's a benefit too.
Yes. But you see, I'm saying national unity not only from the standpoint of politics, like the NDC. No. But everybody, because you see, everybody supports somebody. Whether you are in the middle looking to see if this one is going to be more right than this one, everybody has us. We're just saying right now, there is a crisis. Good. Let us look at the examples around us. Trinidad, for example.
And St. Vincent right there.
St. Vincent right there, but St. Lucia too. Good. And then we're hearing about the news in Jamaica, which is not so very good either. Now, tell me something. Why should I focus so much on whether this is true or that is not true? And why shouldn't I just focus on the science at this particular point in time? When come on, there's something going on in Jamaica there. This conspiracy theory business, no. It has its place, but I'm sure the people there believe in it too. Maybe that's why they're dying like that.
They do.
I'm sure the people in Trinidad believe in it too. Maybe that's why they die. Maybe we need to have a discussion to bring that to the fore. So people understand, listen, filter. Because right now, I'll be honest with you, I don't look at a lot of things. I just shut down. Because it's just overload. Overload. And I know some friends who are anti-vax. They're just not interested in that at all. And keep pushing things to me. And, I phone them. I say, hey, take me out of your group.
Correct.
Because this thing ain't working for me.
I have muted a person I
there
love
you go.
to log on my WhatsApp.
I'm not interested in that.
One gentleman said to me, if you anti-vax and you don't want to take it for yourself, fine. But don't come and tell Brenda, you must be anti-vax.
That's my point.
Leave Brenda alone.
That's my point. That's my point.
Let Brenda develop her own decision one way or the next.
Leave people
Why I must
alone.
come with my anti-vax theories and try to get Brenda there?
Leave people
when
alone.
you don't know how this vaccine will react to Brenda and the kind of safety nets it will give Brenda or not.
Look, I have a friend, very, very close friend. He has serious allergic reactions. So something is not so kosher with the immune system to begin with. I mean, a pollen drop and this guy sneezing. Good, eyes swelling, all sorts of things. Very irritated. Now, he has a friend in Canada who is an immunologist who advised him, listen, the AstraZeneca could be a little iffy for you. So hold out. Now, he has a reason, a proper reason.
Correct.
Hold out. When we are opened up, I want you to come up to Canada, and we will get the one of the many choices here that I think has less thing for you. Good. Now there's that segment of the population out there.
There are.
Good. And this young man is actually speaking not as an anti-vaxxer. Good, but he's explaining his situation, and some of the anti-vaxxers say, you see, same thing I tell you. So they grab his thing now to put in their arsenal to support their narrative. Now tell me something.
But I wanted
we seem to be having a lot of sides, right? So we have fries, we have onion rings, we have cream potatoes, loaded fries. Too many sides. We need to really get to the main course. How do you channel the people around the table who is gathered for the feast? Listen, the main course is what we need to deal with.
Maybe we didn't make the main course well. Maybe we did not make the main course well. Maybe it's not smelling appetizing enough. Maybe it's not, even appealing to the eyes, because most people eat with their eyes.
Correct.
They introduced. Now you see, I think because of the political polarization of our society, we see politics in everything.
Everything.
So Minister Steele comes out and he talks. Who studying he?
Yeah.
The CMO comes out and he speaks. I sure Mr. Steele tell him to say that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now forgetting that this guy is a trained medical professional.
Yep.
And he knows his stuff.
Yeah.
You look at the panel you were on with him and the young Charles doctor and even Bert. Good. The message here is clear. That showed their medical prowess, how deep they are. And let me tell you something. Even Minister Steele has learned a lot during this period.
Yes.
And already start off bright. He's a bright man.
Of course he is.
So you see him now being proficient on the subject matter. But the politics...
We have no respect for things like that.
Yes, the politics cause people now to... Don't worry because he with the NNP. Don't worry because he only telling us what he feel he want to tell us. They want to look good to the world.
Yeah,
they want to look good to the world. And this now is a situation where if we don't do what we're supposed to do, we die. You can imagine coronavirus running amok in Grenada.
It scares me a lot.
You run amok in Trinidad and you see what happens with them.
Scares me.
And the question for you, Eddie, you have been a person in training and training staff at a very basic level in terms of attitudes and change of attitudes. That is your area of expertise. And my question to you is, when you go now to staff members And we have decided as a country we're not making this mandatory for the person to take the vaccine. But how do you tell and convince employees that the environment has now changed to a significant effect that they know to probably need to adjust their attitude towards this particular situation? Because COVID-19 and a pandemic is something we have never had before. This is a new environment for all of us. And as Board rightfully put it the last time, we've opened. Right? So are we to say to employees, now listen, this environment has changed. This is now a health and safety risk. I can say that I don't want nobody come on my property to service my AC units unless they're vaccinated. That is my right. How do we transmit that to employees in a work environment to get them to understand, yes, I may be hesitant to some degree, but my livelihood is important in order to stay?
Well, you see, we've had a lot of discussion from legal experts. A matter of fact, I've seen an opinion issued in the Jamaica Gleaner very recently by 2 lawyers who are basically saying we have to get employees to understand first and foremost, yes, the source is attitude, because the attitude now as it goes, everybody thinks now is still normal. But what was normal? Was it really working for us before? We are having a wonderful opportunity to press the restart button and move again in a new atmosphere. But you know, these 2 gentlemen were actually saying that you're working in an environment with a lot of people, where it's customer focused, a lot of customers come there, you have 200 employees that you intermingling with and whatnot. Well, everybody lives somewhere. If you are not vaccinated, you're putting the people you live with at risk. Good, but not everybody in your house works the same place.
Correct.
Good, what about the children that are going to school? And he's showing the opportunity, the ability we have to spread this thing as fast and far and wide as possible. He says, you have a duty to protect yourself, protect your customers, and protect the people you live with. He said, but if a fellow is running a tractor in the field and he tell you, I ain't taking no vaccine, you know, but he alone in the field, leave the man alone. Because he's in the field, he's not interacting with anybody.
Let me put another argument to you that is coming up. You're hearing people mention the aspect of public sector workers versus private sector workers. Probably the uptake in private sector may be quicker than in public.
It is.
What happens where, let us project down the road, and we have the public services our largest employer in the country, largest single employer, 3,000 to 5,000 people. And in the private sector, we probably high, but in liquor, things all over pockets.
SGU is the biggest after the public sector.
So here it is, that the private sector are going to, and you spoke about incentivizing, there are people now coming up with things about, I saw one about if you get vaccinated, you get a free box of Kentucky. You know, different mechanisms to incentivize people. I give you a lottery or something to win to become vaccinated. That being said, let's assume the private sector gets to herd immunity among its employees and the public sector doesn't. Do you believe then that we have to mandate?
Oh yes,
because they have to service us.
But I believe the Constitution, I think even in that forum, I believe the Constitution does lead to that, you know.
Yeah.
Good, where
public health is an exception to the rule.
Public health is an exception to the rule.
With the rights business.
Of course. Good, because this is not about rights, this is about survival, this is about life. This is not about, I think we're mixing up the script.
Because your right should not violate mine.
This is the point, because the 3,000 to 5,000 you're talking about, plus of course the contract workers, they're still operating in that ministerial complex or that being their headquarters. When they come from there on an afternoon, they're gone into the community.
So we can't look at them in isolation because they're still part of the
population. Of course. So therefore,
they're part of the main course.
Of course. So I would suggest that it's just a matter of time. Now, you do, you're downed. You don't do, you're still downed. Because look at Trinidad. If Rowley had shut Trinidad down earlier, woo, Jesus help you. you would have heard all sorts of hue and cry. Now you can't even hear the opposition, except to say, he should have done it a long time. He's not managing this properly.
No, they came out late last night. They said there's a stumble in the SOE.
There you go. But you understand what I'm saying? The message here is clear. So, and that is what leadership does. Leadership makes decisions. They take decisions. You have to pull the bull by the horn. Churchill was not liked during, you know. But look at how celebrated Churchill is today.
Eddie, there's another dimension to this. That dimension with young people, youth. It is understood that this is where the highest level of hesitancy lies.
Correct.
You know, and we see nothing in the horizon to change that. I mean, I interface with them, and it's clear I ain't taking this vaccine. No way. As a motivational expert, what are your ideas to approach this particular segment? How do we? That's the largest segment also. How do we reach them? How do we
I'll
convince
tell you something.
them?
I was studying a young man in Trinidad. Oh gosh, I can't remember his name now. But he wrote a book for millennials. He is one himself, so he's preaching to himself, God and his peers. And one of the things I think us adults, older adults, do not really realize is that young people, young millennials, they have no loyalty as such. How did they develop this lack of loyalty? Most of them are products of broken homes or one parent situation. Mother loved them to death. So when they come to work, they're looking for a mother figure, you know. No, it's true.
It's true.
And if you start to talk to them in a way that they don't like, that's why they have no tenure at work. Because my mother don't talk to me so. That's the first thing they tell you. You can't talk to me so. And then they're gone.
When I reach home late, my mother doesn't tell me nothing. When I come to work late, who is you?
Apart from that, monkey see, monkey do. They see that same mother that they love or they live with, leaving home 8 o'clock to go to work for 8. That's what my mothers do. They inhale that. They breathe that. So we are having a serious problem. In other words, us adults, when they come to work, we have to find ways to embrace them. Because we're supposed to know where they're coming from. They're coming from this detachment. Good, where they no stick-to-itiveness, no focus, no. So you have to change the way you manage them.
You build on their strengths.
Yes, you have to build on their strengths because they're looking for you to mother them. Or if they come from a home with a father and mother who put their head together and they treat them the same way, they're looking for you to be their father at work. So you have to discipline them with some measure of love. You have to find it within you. Good? Now when you are that kind of boss, that kind of mentor, that kind of person they could rely on, you know, you could influence them. You can influence them. But we're lacking that kind of leadership in the society to be able to get them to eat from our hands.
And they also intake information in a different way.
Of course.
That we have not seen able to embrace. I mean, everybody. And that's why as for all the credit that we give to the Ministry of Health, I guess they have now reached a stage where they need a professional PR and communications firm to guide them through this process. And they seem to be doing so somewhat with what we've seen presented recently. And that is great. But one size does not fit all. True. And so that is another element of the communication and education process that we need to look at.
You know, it is beautiful that you should say that because I remember the reason why I was co-opted to moderate that program, the first program with, a few Sundays ago, is because I literally threw out a challenge on one of my programs. I said, this is not about politics. Notwithstanding, the government knows where my views lie, that I'm not with them, I'm not interested in them, and that sort of thing. But look at how pro-vaccination I am. Why don't you reach out to people like me?
And you did a great job.
Thank you. Look at Randall Robertson. Oh, Jesus, you could not get more opposed to the government than Randall. But Randall is pro-vax. Why? Randall has a business that is on the floor beating up. Tourism. Let's get back to work. Because we have a solution. Let's use the solution to build back our economy and
issue of livelihoods.
This is the point, because it has actually reached there. It has migrated.
And we said so, you know. When our government locked down Grenada early last year, we said lives are more important now than livelihoods.
That was
so we're going to shut it down and give you some relief, give you some social help from government. But as soon as we get a solution, the equation is going to change. Livelihoods is going to become very important so people can normalize. And the government needs the revenue and all that goes with that. So that was said. So, and now, you know, Eddie, we as a people, with our hesitancy, is preventing our own success.
That's right. But we need to be protected from ourselves in many respects.
And
we are our own enemies.
And then it's historically and otherwise. You know, Bert Patterson said something on that forum you guys had. And, you know, he prefaced it by saying he didn't want to come across as being racist or sounding wrong.
Well,
but it was a great point.
Yes.
Because we cannot get away from the fact that historically we have history and there's precedence with vaccinations. I mean, you know, the Tuskegee experiment and all of that. And so black people have that in them. But Patterson made the point that when he see all races, all strata dying and being infected, he's like,
and they're
listen,
fighting for the vaccine.
Correct. I mean, if they are fighting, it has to be. So it's not a thing about, and you know, I see people who, you know, they're not trained in anything. They probably have talent, but they're not trained in science or anything, saying, well, it's only black people dying. You can't figure out why. The doctors are telling you why. Because traditionally, we have these comorbidities, the diabetes, the hypertension. These are the things virus thrives on. That is what it is. It's not like they make COVID for us. So we're not even opening to listen. We're not even open. We just, you know, and for all we say, and people want to beat up on the ministry about information, you're on those forums. Yesterday I took in mine from Facebook. Normally I'll watch a TV to get away from the comments. And people came on. They were not listening. They came on with their narrative and they just kept pounding away. The panel was addressing what they were criticizing and they were not hearing. So we have that too. It is just a whole canopy of madness.
That's right.
And we have to find a way, we have to address it.
And you know, traditionally, we come from a history of people being vaccinated all the time.
This is the point.
And it was mandated in law. We never questioned it then.
I watched Ray Roberts with
information. Boy.
I watched Ray Roberts with Michael Bascom program. And he was explaining, he's another good person we can use. He was explaining because, you know, he said as a young boy, you know, growing up in Grandaunt's Day, when he started to fall ill, let's say it was Maljo. 7 days later, because he was having all these different things. So his mother took him to the doctor. The doctor said, lady, Maljo, your son has polio. That's why he walks the way he walks. He was not born with that leg.
That's right.
You know, so these are the things, and these are the people that needs to make themselves, you know, this is what it is. Eddie is correct. It has to be national. Who we like, who we don't like, who green, who yellow, who down the red. No. We have to want better for our country.
That's right.
We have to.
That's right.
We have to.
But I would like to see civil society get involved. And take a leadership role.
They have been very quiet.
Yes, I would love to see. I would love to see the GTUC. I would love to see the churches, the Conference of Churches, or come on, man, do something.
The NGO community,
the NGO community, you know, everybody.
But if I went to my congregation and I preached for weeks as an anti-vaxxer, how now do I come back to convince them?
Well, bye.
A lot of damage has been done, you know. We have a lot of work to do. So the Prime Minister called in the religious leaders a couple weeks ago, but immense damage has been done. Bishop Harvey came out and, you know, he spoke about you know, as a head of the church, but there are priests telling people don't take vaccine too.
But there are nurses telling people don't take it either.
I tell you, yes.
So there you go.
Yeah.
You know, so it has to do, you talked about the media earlier, and I mean, when the people in the community who are anti-vaxxers are not just in the community, you know, they're spread throughout.
They're everywhere.
They're everywhere. They're in the media, they're in the nurses.
Influential.
This is the point, they're in influential positions. So from that standpoint, you're looking at the level of people you have in the media. They have their own narrative also. So they would be pushing the salacious material to suit their narrative. You see, and
one friend of mine said probably our success is really beating us. And if we had 10 deaths in Grenada related to COVID, everybody would have been at 60% already.
Oh, yes.
Let's hope we never get there.
Clearly.
Unfortunately.
Let's continue to work with each other.
But you know, a lot of us still believe COVID is a myth.
If Friday was a turning point for us, let it be the turning point.
Never underestimate the influence you are having also, with your positive vibes, via this particular medium and this program. Because truth be told, there was a fellow who I knew very well, who totally anti-vax. When we had that panel, the guy called me Sunday nights.
I had one and his wife called me too.
He said, Fred,
and he went
I'm going to take the thing, boy. This thing was very... Now, I wish there were more like that. So never underestimate.
Because you know why? They saw people like themselves.
Yes.
They saw people who they feel a certain way about.
Yes.
We bandy about trust. Yes, trust is an issue. But some of me have to ask the question, why you have the trust problem? You had an experience? You trust yourself?
There you go.
You know, we have...
And interestingly, on that program, all of us on the panel were vaccinated.
Yes.
So we were leading from in front.
Well, actually, but interestingly, you're lucky, because I intended to ask you,
You could ask him,
Eddie, I'm going to turn it over to you for the next couple minutes to there are some things that I'm sure you want to address as it relates to vaccination and where we should be heading. Because we need to kind of turn, if Friday was a turning point, let's keep going with that wave.
There's that momentum follow, But I know Senator Allie has to leave, Some people on this panel have to work.
Yes, all of us. All of us have to report to work.
Yes. But I would like us to really look at some of the benefits of being vaccinated. Because I start, from the time I got my second shot, even at the first shot, but I was controlled in how jubilant I felt. I started to feel a sense of freedom. Good, but it was halfway. If you know what I mean. But since I got my second shot, I just feel I'm ready to go. I feel also that people like us who are fully vaccinated should establish our own norms. We should have our own norms, our own standards. Good? If we ourselves decide to refuse to do business with places that are not vaxxed, they need to feel it in their pockets. Good? Because it is important for us to... Because it's not a magic bullet. So it's not that we can't catch it. Because we could be interrupted. But it's just that we will not become severely ill and we are not likely to succumb to it. But you still will be interrupted.
It's just a guardrail of your immunity.
This is the point, The CDC situation in the United States where they say about taking off masks and that sort of thing, I'll tell you something. I am not too sure I'm ready to follow that. Because how am I going to know you're not going to ask you for your passport? Show me your passport first before I take off my mask. Come on, that's too much work. So
they need to manage that because they could go right back to where they were.
Well, but you see, we are going to be influenced by that press release. That's the point I'm making. I'm more thinking about us than I'm actually thinking about them because we live here. Good. The way COVID-19 has impacted tourism, there are many people in the tourism industry who are not likely to go back because they see it. This was an impossible situation that they never thought of that has come and interacted. So people interrupted their livelihood in a way that I don't think they want to take a chance to go back for permanent employment. And they're likely to behave. So there's another uphill task for the tourism industry.
Great point.
By way of training and getting people to
won't
reset.
Get the same people back.
No, you're not likely to get the same people. So there's going to be a stutter in service. And we already have a service problem.
Let's not get away from that.
So we have to be mindful of that. Good. We have to understand that one of the benefits is that vaccination is the key to total reopening. Total reopening. Good? Because you would like to be able to walk through a place when they say, you show your passport, they say, great. you're free to go in.
Yeah.
You're free to sit, you're free to eat, you're free to socialize. Good. We have to start understanding that, to me, there are more benefits to be gained from being vaccinated than disadvantages.
Yeah.
Good. What about the protocols? The protocols are likely to change for you. Look, already they've announced 48 hours after you travel.
Yeah.
Which means that working people, professionals, can make sure they return either Friday or Saturday, and you really don't lose any time. You're back to work on Monday morning. You understand, and you're allowed to you call it, quarantine in your home. Because so that's a benefit. Good. We have to think about the 70% or 79% efficacy from AstraZeneca. We also have to remind our people that this little stutter you noticed that took place in the European Union, that is politics.
Of course, it's vaccine politics.
Well, not only vaccine politics, Brexit. You think the European Union is going to allow Oxford AstraZeneca to run amok throughout the entire European Union that they just exited from?
Correct.
I ain't gonna put all this money in your pocket.
Politics.
No.
A lot of politics.
So some people with hypertension, heart problems, blood clot issues, who may have taken the thing and succumbed because of blood clot. Oh, that was blown out of proportion.
Yeah.
But if you look at the percentage, if you take the number of people who have died of blood clot or developed blood clot after the vaccination, and you divide it into the number of people that took it, I don't even think it came out with a 0.0%.
The risk is low,
Yeah, the risk is very, very low. And we are running with that. Good. Now, one of the things that I have noticed here in Grenada, people do not take their health on a general basis seriously. People do not do, for the most part, a general checkup every year. They tell you that, I can't afford that, that's too expensive. It may run you maybe $900. But again, you're really an enemy of yourself. Because that's a priority. Why do you think the old proverb comes up and says, your health is your wealth? Because it's the source. Listen to me, Brenda, I'm sure you understand this. There are 3 components to life. The first one is health. The second one is career. And the third one is relationships. And if you look at them in truth and in fact, there can't be any other component to life.
True. And they don't exist without each other.
No.
Well,
because when you think of relationships, and we're not talking about marriage and parish here, because people here like too much friend. And that's why they end up in a lot of problems.
No, for real.
They like too much, as my mother used to say, they like too much string band around them, so they always will be in conflict. Good. There are lots of people, I think we at this table here understand, there are lots of people who are just not good for you.
That's correct.
And some of those people are your relatives.
That's correct.
They're just not good for you.
That's correct.
You treat them with a 10-foot pole.
That's correct.
Hey, how you doing? Uncle Chasley was like that. Wonderful man. That, listen, he and I, we are very tight.
Chassie David.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful man. That man should have been knighted. And it's not too late for them to do it posthumously.
But Grenadians, of course, honor and respect.
Oh, man.
And the blessings that the children have.
Must.
First Patrick and Peter and them feel is dead.
Yes. They don't understand the source. The source. That was an interesting man. That was a father to a lot of people. Awesome. You know, Chasley would greet you. You're on the other side of the room. Hey man, how you doing? Good to see you, man.
It's always excited.
Yes, but guess what? There are 2 things that body language is telling you. Stay there, but you cannot leave and go and tell anybody he was not hearty to you.
No.
He was not enthusiastic to you.
He found his friends wherever they were.
There you go. There you go. So that kind of, so when you look at the 3 things, health, that's your number 1. Because if you're not healthy, your career will suffer. But you know, if this breaks down for some reason and you've already developed in your healthier years a strong career, it can fund and maintain.
It's a relationship.
Yes, it's a relationship.
Yeah.
But what about the relationships? This networking thing is very, very important, you know.
Yes, it is.
Because you could be looking good on television and people don't know, and you have an expensive look. But they don't know that Brenda is such a great talent for this, that, let's say, Oliver decides, you know something? I'm going to partner with Brenda. And all of a sudden, Brenda looks like larger than life, but it's relationship that caused that.
How you know that's what you did?
Well, I don't know. I don't know that. But the message is clear. Yeah. But you see, the truth is, you can, it's easy to what should I say?
Because we get caught up in a lot of frailties and
this
and
is the
so
thing.
on.
But you were saying it before the program
Yeah.
started here this morning, and you said it. You couldn't say it any better. The pettiness
Yeah.
of our society is what has us buried and mired in this narrative that we can't divide, we can't separate, we can't.
No.
Byron is let's say a Garyite, but what do Byron? He's stupid. He's stuck in time.
Yeah.
So why you have to say the man's stupid?
Yeah.
Suppose Gary just meant so much to Byron, but Byron, I really talking about myself, eh?
Okay, I was going to say you're not talking about me, you know.
As we move on in life, we realize a lot of us is real Garyites, you know.
But this thing, Brenda, was a lodge, you know.
Yeah.
This thing was more than a lodge.
Yeah.
We have to get Eddie back to talk about other stuff, you know.
Huh?
We have to get Eddie back.
Oh, most definitely. Eddie is a national treasure. Eddie is a national treasure. Eddie's a whole fireball.
Plus.
No, but we really and truly have too many advantages for us to be focused on the petty narrative, you know.
I mean, yesterday looking at that program, I kind of just zoned out for a minute. First of all, the production was fantastic from start to end. And I'm just thinking, look at all these wonderful, talented, compassionate, empathetic Grenadians. You know, there are so many of us everywhere.
Yes,
you know,
yes.
and we need to, and that was one of the great ways of the diaspora really giving back in a meaningful way. Because we need to, the barrel and the that's always a head stick, right? I know the remittances, but there are so many other ways in which they can contribute. And I think this period, we need to continue that engagement with them.
That's
so
right.
many of them out there. The testimonials, I mean, I cried when the nurse spoke. I mean, when people were just dying around her and she caught COVID in the hospital and how she had to scream for help. You know, Harold Paisidi came on and all these people gave their stories. And we keep saying, well, we ain't getting no information. No, where you looking? We keep going where we could go down.
Yes.
We're not going where we
Wine
could.
and jam, that's what we want. That is very, that is popular,
So
you know. And then tell them it's so we did. And we like that, you know. Everything below subsurface, we did. We jam in. You know, but even, you know, it's so funny you should say that about that particular program yesterday with the talents involved. Because one of the things, you know, we talk about in Grenada because of what political apathy and whatnot, we talk about, there are no leaders, there are no, as if there are no positive people, there are no successful people. And there's so many. I have started something on my social media pages, just looking for Grenadians that have excelled right here before your eyes.
Yes, I saw that. You had Richard Duncan. One of the
well,
best
look at Hubbard's.
ever.
Hubbard, this guy is
Phil
new.
Bud Lewis.
Phil Bud, he's doing a very good job. Look at Anya Maniz.
Yes.
Good. Today I featured Shadel Nayak Compton.
Fantastic.
You know, these are humble people, helpful, very much involved in the grain. Why does it always have to be politics for you to shine? Why does it have to be politics for you to shine? They are shining in their own right.
Of course, there are leaders everywhere. We keep looking at, you know, and those in authority. Who are those? The news always have this, the relevant authority. Who's that?
Yes.
If it's the Ministry of Works, name them.
That's
right. If it's the Ministry of Finance, name them.
That's right.
Who's the relevant authority? Who's that?
Yes.
There are leaders everywhere. There are leaders everywhere. And there's lots of leaders in Grenada, but a lot of them choose to follow or pick a side.
That's right. And it's very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. But Byron, tell me, what are you doing to keep so young and vivacious?
I was going to ask you, Eddie, the same question. I mean, is that a coincidence?
Well, it looks like we're just in the habit of taking regular showers.
Oh my goodness.
But I do follow your work, Eddie, and particularly your social media and your training and your contribution is enormous. I think Grenada is proud of you, and
yes,
definitely. Well, thank you. Thank you.
Keep doing it.
Thank you, my friend.
Eddie has perfected his craft.
Yeah.
He found his passion, and he worked hard to get into the science of it. And it's a nice blend of his personality.
Absolutely. My dear, they say when you love what you do, you will never work a day in your life.
Absolutely.
I like that phrase, yeah.
Thank you so very much. We really appreciate you.
Yeah.
Your candor and everything you contributed here this morning. Really, really, really appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate your invitation also, and I want to thank your producers and so for reaching out. I must say that I was a little hesitant because I thought it was a call-in program.
Yeah.
Because some people...
Actually, we have a phone, but we ain't calling in a while. We should just open it one day.
Not when I hear, because I'm very, very this kind of hide and give and whoop at man and whatnot, because I don't think they like what I will respond. Because I took a long time to be this. And nobody taking 2 seconds to mash this up. You know what I mean?
No. You have to respect that.
Yes, just as a parting shot though, and it might be instructive for a lot of people listening. Brenda, from the time I turned 50, which was some time ago.
That's my age now.
But there you go, bless your heart. From the time I turned 50, it dawned on me that the left side of 50 for most of us is longer than the right side.
Yeah. So you see life differently.
And as the Arabs would say, using their bit of proverb, Elifat mat. What does that mean? What is past is dead. So going forward now, I am living this right side for me. It's all about me. Who get already? There's nothing else to get because everything is mine now.
You've come to the point where it's no time to make
That's
you
right.
better.
That's right. And it's time for you to focus on being the person that you probably never thought you should be because you were so busy dividing yourself among this, that, and the other before. So going forward, it's about me. So blessings.
A sought after product.
That's right. That's right.
Not a tin mango.
No, not anymore. Julie.
Thank you so very much, Eddie. We really, really appreciate it. Of course, Eddie Frederick, our special guest panelist this morning on Perspective. We'd like to really, really thank our production crew. These guys come out here every Monday morning, and a lot of it is being done even before Monday mornings. And I must say a hearty thank you to Blondell George. Of course, Blondell directs things here. Nazim Benjamin for excellent professional streaming services. Kirk Oliver, camera, audio, and all that's good. Soon to take over the empire from his dad, our executive producer, Urchi Oliver, and Kishan Thomas, our producer. And Brenda Baptiste, I just show up every morning just to make sure we keep decorum around here. But of course, these are the people who really make it happen. And the stellar service that's provided by our expert talk panel, Senator Christopher Allie, who had to leave us early this morning, and Mr. Byron Campbell. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a great week.
Everybody.
All right. Until next Monday, everyone. No, next Monday is a holiday. Happy with Monday in advance.
Okay.
So we'll see you Monday after next. Have a great week, everyone. Bye-bye.
This is Harold Paisley in New York. My fellow Grenadians, I am urging you to take the COVID-19 vaccine. As we fight this dreaded disease, the science has proven that taking the vaccine substantially reduces the possibility of you being hospitalized, hooked up to a ventilator, fighting for your life. Grenada's low positive cases today is no guarantee of the same tomorrow. Let's be proactive. Get vaccinated save lives.
Get vax. It's your best shot. Hello.
A message from the Ministry of Health.
I accepted the COVID-19 vaccine. Initially, I felt fine, but later that evening, I had a headache. The next morning, I woke up with fever, chills, body pains, and I was just really tired. The symptoms continued, and that evening, I was out by 6 p.m. The good news, the second day after my vaccine, I got up feeling great. No more side effects. I am truly happy that I took the COVID-19 vaccine.
I took my best shot for the safety of my community. Get vaxxed, it's your best shot.
A message from the Ministry of Health.